guys, what is going on? My name's Gareth and we're continuing on with my Blue Mountains adventure here in the Blue Mountains near Sydney, Australia. Now today we are at a very special place which only opens up a few times a year, if I'm to understand that correctly. This is the Vally Heights Railway Museum, and today we're going to go on some steam train rides. This is going to be pretty fun. Here we go. How awesome is that? You know this is going to be a great museum when the fence that they have around the place is old railway wood ties and the railway tracks to hold them up. How cool is this? Check out how big these wheels are. They're almost as big as I am. Wow. Well, lucky for you guys, we have an all-access pass to this place. The museum just don't know it yet. Looks like an old boiler, which maybe they're trying to renovate right now. But this is what makes a steam train run. This is the muscles, the heart, the brain, I guess you could say, I don't know. The amount of pressure that would be in this, the amount of heat that this would have inside of it. Unbelievable. What's pretty interesting is that this train right here, they are the old Blue Mountains trains that came up to the Blue Mountains for many, many decades. And I think this place that we're at right now used to actually maintain them, if I'm to be correct. And there are two very famous sets of these. One was called the Fish and the other one was called the Chips. And take a look at that. One interesting fact is that in the movie The Matrix with Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss and the black dude, what's his name? What is his name? Lawrence Fishburne. It might not have been this train carriage, but this train design was used in the movie The Matrix. Maybe I can find a clip for you guys and I'll show you. Notice the square windows. Same train that almost ran over Keanu Reeves in The Matrix #1. Don't you guys just love rail history? I think it's pretty cool. So back in the day, if you were needing to go somewhere, you would get a ticket, of course, and this would have been a ticket machine when you needed to travel to your destination. They've even got the original stamp presses and even the ticket, you know, the ticket squeezing, what would you call it? The puncture hole machine? Let me know in the comments below what it's called.
The Caves Express, as you'll see over here, in the 30s it started, and it was a special train that used to run people up to Mount Victoria.
Right.
And then they'd go by bus to Jenolan Caves.
Right.
And then they'd come back from Jenolan Caves and join it. And this was a train, a carriage that was originally on the Caves Express.
Wow.
And that's its original colour scheme.
That's amazing. So which platform would it stop again to go to the...
There's its run.
So it would stop at Mount Victoria as the dead end type thing?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you'd go in an old 6-seater type bus to the caves.
That's amazing. I love how this museum has actually preserved a lot of the old railway seats from the platforms. They've all been preserved, pretty much. That's really cool. So I think because this was a milk carriage, they ended up transporting pretty much just milk inside this huge, you know, cold chamber. These big doors would have held the cool in as best as possible.
See how thick the walls are?
Absolutely.
Tin line to keep the cold in.
They may have had dry ice inside of here. Would any dry ice been used, or was that before the time?
No dry ice.
No dry ice.
This was all block ice,
sure.
Just ice.
And these are the milk jugs that they would have used.
What used to happen on the top, there's hatches, and they'd fill the hatches with ice.
Right.
And the ice would lay in a big tray on the top.
Interesting.
And provide the cooling for the carriage.
What about when the ice melted? Was there a drainage system?
Yes. Oh yes. Yes, so it would all melt and it would run out the ends through drainage. So in those days there was ice factories all over Sydney.
Sure.
And you know, because your house had an ice fridge.
Yeah.
And they took blocks of ice to the house.
Sure. And how long could the carriage stay cool for?
Oh, it'd stay cool all day.
Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, because, you know, you can see the amount of insulation.
It's pretty deep. Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of insulation in here. And you can see This one had racks put in it later on for carrying things.
Right.
But basically it had milk churns.
Milk jugs, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. It's so dark inside this milk carriage. I'm pretty sure, not 100%, but I'm pretty sure ghosts live in that one. It's pretty spooky. And what was this one again, sorry?
And this would also carry milk churns. Now this was the days before they had ice.
Right.
And what would have the louvers, and it had a false roof. So it rely on the cooling effect from going along the track.
That's amazing.
So it had all milk churns in there. You can see here.
Nature's air conditioning.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
But the real history you need to look at is the shed. When you look at this, look at the timber trusses and everything at the top. Built in 1913. No cranes, nothing in those days.
So how would they have done it, you reckon?
Pulleys,
Sure.
ropes, pulled it all up. It's a masterpiece of timber construction.
It really does.
The
look like
intricacy of the trusses, and you can see it's a celestial roof, so it's got
What does that
false roof on the top.
mean? Okay.
So where the two roofs join, you've
Yep.
got another roof doing this, and that would let the smoke out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That is actually very smart, yeah.
Because originally,
There would have been a lot of smoke in here back in the
Yeah.
day. I heard a story, well actually read it on the website roughly, that back in the day airline pilots used to use this place as a geographical
Yeah, probably.
location,
Yeah.
and they could see the smoke coming
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
distance, so...
probably, you
Yeah.
couldn't have missed it. Smoke out of steam engines is highly acidic, and
Sure.
it'll rot your timbers away.
Really?
So when we light up a loco in here, we take it out there.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah.
but if you come down further,
Absolutely.
there was hundreds of these. But
Is there many of these ones left in existence?
No, there's about 3
3 of them?
from memory.
Yep.
This one's not operational, but it's completely restored.
Sure. How much longer do you think it would take you to get it in operational state?
It needs $500,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Like
it needs a full overhaul.
Like a boiler, you mean? Or?
Yeah, boiler,
Yeah.
tube plates, the whole lot. Because when the railways retired them, they were at the end of their lives.
Hypothetically speaking, let's say you would put water in the tank right now and fire up the box. What would be the worst that could happen? What could happen, you reckon?
You would just melt it,
Melt it?
sort
In
of
what
thing,
way?
because there'd be that many water leaks. It wouldn't hold water to start with.
okay.
If you had a fire in it,
Yep.
you would just,
Fair enough.
You're just lighting a fire in something that's got no water in it.
Sure.
Because all the stays that hold everything together are gone. It wouldn't be safe. If you got built any pressure anyway,
Sure.
you wouldn't know whether it would contain it.
Sure, okay.
So, no, you just wouldn't do it.
Interesting. There's the old Glenbrook station. I'm pretty sure if the American pickers were here, they'd be picking the signs behind me. Oh, look at that. I would totally go for that Pepsi sign. So how long was this place abandoned for before it was rediscovered?
Oh, quite a while.
Yeah.
We took over and came in around 86,
Sure.
88, we finally got the lease.
Yep.
And before that, it had gradually run down and down and down.
Sure.
The building is the masterpiece.
Absolutely.
It's the oldest one on New South Wales,
New
I should
South
say.
Wales, yeah.
There are other depots, like in Cowra and other places.
Sure.
You can see the original windows. When we got here, they were all smashed and
Really?
damaged, every pane of glass.
Would that have been vandals, you reckon?
Yes, vandals and time. We've done a lot of things, like the turntable out in the middle
Sure.
is original, works beautifully, hand operated.
Nice.
So
Nice.
if you can balance anything that fits on it, like that, a seesaw, one person can turn it.
Really?
The 57 class. The 57 and its sister engine, the 58, the only 3-cylinder engines used on the New South Wales system.
Really?
So it's got 3 cylinders instead of 2. If you look at a normal steam engine, see hanging off the side is a cylinder?
Yep.
It's 2 cylinders, one on each side to
where
drive the
would
wheels.
the third one be then?
The third one is in the middle.
Is it really?
Underneath the smoke box, the
Wow.
third one's in the middle.
So that would produce a lot more power, I'm guessing?
Yes, and it drove onto a centre axle.
Okay.
So they were called the mountain class, the biggest, most powerful ones.
How would they
had-
balance the vibrations? Because it's not symmetrical. There's 3 as
Yes.
opposed to 2.
They had it all smoothly. The valve timings
Yeah.
and the way it was designed,
Wow.
it was smooth. It had its own distinct chuff, chuff, chuff
Yep.
compared to these.
Yep.
But that 5711's the only one left. That's a very special engine.
Yeah, that's good.
And they used to work up and down the mountains here and down the south coast.
So what was your name again?
Gareth.
Gareth, can you show Gareth around a bit? He's making a video of the place.
Yeah, YouTube video.
Well, this is 5711. It's the last 57 class in existence.
Really?
The 57, you know, they're a massive freight loco, introduced I think in 1929. They were built locally here in I think it's Clyde Engineering.
Right.
But
My father used to work in Clyde Engineering.
Okay.
Newcastle.
In 1993, can I swear on your film?
You can do whatever you want.
Some dirty rotten bastard got in one night and burnt the place to the ground.
Really?
So we lost 2 tram cars like that, and we're talking sort of 1890 vintage.
Yep.
The steam tram motor, similar vintage, it was very badly damaged, but it's been restored. Very quickly regarding the steam tram, the older members of the tramway always knew there was a house at Barara built out of 2 steam tram trailer cars. The house was built in 1932.
Yeah, right.
2 sisters, name of King, bought 2 surplus steam tram cars for £20, £10,
Wow.
and built a house around them.
Unbelievable.
But just a little while after the fire, mid-1990s, just by chance, one of our members stumbled across someone who knew the address of the place. Oh, look, there's one tram, there's the other. There's photos of the house as it looked when we demolished it, and also in about 1950. We saw the place. That's the house. An English woman called May Ward. She was a widow. She and her husband bought the house in 1954.
Right.
I wrote a letter to May, because I'm just lucky enough, fortunate enough to get her name. I said, look, this is who we are, this is what's happened to us. Do you mind if we come and have a look at your house stroke trams? And May wrote back and she said, she was 80-year-old widow. I'm only 10 years off 80, so.
Yeah.
But she said, look, I don't mind. She said, I've been burgled a few times, I don't want to become a tourist attraction. But 2 of the original members and myself went up one weekend, met this lady. You walk in the front door, you're in one of the tram cars.
Right.
The one that's downstairs.
Amazing.
This is the other tram car from Barara.
Okay.
This is as much as we've restored it sort of up to this level and side. But the main entrance of the house was actually this doorway here, I'm pretty certain. I mean, I went into
So that was the main entrance of the house, the lady, the lady's house. Wow.
This was the dining room, this bit here.
Wow.
The next section here was the kitchen. That's why there's holes in the roof where chimneys and that went up.
Really?
And you've got a photo of her in the kitchen.
Well, that's the previous owner from 1950. I didn't know that lady. And then the rear section was the laundry and bathroom. So
Amazing.
a lot of timber work's been replaced. Much of the underfloor frame is original.
Right.
These are all new, of course.
Yeah.
Seatbacks are new.
Yep.
All the flooring is new. These 2 main frame members on either side are new.
Right.
Because this carriage was virtually sitting in the dirt. And when we lifted it, it's just a wonder it didn't just collapse on itself.
Wow.
Because
Yeah,
it was, the main frame timbers were so rotten. So
It's amazing that you got what you got.
between the 2 tram cars, we got enough original sliding doors to make one full set with one left over. This woman and I became quite friendly over a period of a year or 2. I'd often drop in, have a cup of tea and biscuits.
Sure.
I showed her videotape from the 1930s, or from film of the 30s, of what these things looked like when they were actually in use.
Interesting.
She knew what the interest was. Basically, her house contained the last 2 steam tram cars on the planet.
Interesting. Wow.
And she would say to me, look, if I win the lottery, you can come and get the trams tomorrow, I'll build a new house. Every time I'd visit her, I'd give her a lottery ticket. Just, a bit of a joke. Anyway, she died about 1998 suddenly. Okay, it was one of those occasions where, okay, May's gone. What are we going to do to try and preserve this house, these 2 tram cars?
Yeah, the trams.
How do you go about it? Sometimes you've got to be a little bit pushy, otherwise they could go and be gone. I rang the house, not knowing what I would find. I spoke to one of May's daughters who lived locally. And I said, look, I'm really sorry about your mum. She's a nice lady, May. But, and I feel lousy asking you this a week after your mum's died, but what's happening to the house, stroke trams? May had left the stuff to the public trustee.
Right.
So I ring the public trustee at Chatswood and I said, look, this is none of my business whatsoever. But you've got this house on your books up at Barara, which contains 2 worthless but irreplaceable and priceless pieces of our transport heritage.
Absolutely.
I assume the house will be demolished and maybe the trams will be bulldozed. Now, if we can, we need to preserve them. So the place went up for auction. Bruce, our conductor, and I went up the auction, so we negotiated the price. We set about demolishing the house and eventually got the 2 tram cars.
That's
This
amazing.
one here, and I say to people, this tram car you're sitting in, it was built in 1891, it was a tram for 40 years. It was 2 bedrooms and a house for 65 years, and now it's a tram again. We've had that up and running since 2005, so
That's great.
nearly 16 years.
Just casually sitting in an old 100-year-old plus tram. What are you guys doing today?
Where the tracks that come down the hill, one track was always there. If you look on the where the ash pits are, and there's a very historic little tunnel.
Okay.
Which had track in it with a skip that
Yep.
would go under the ash pits and break out all the ash, and,
Sure.
and we get loaded here.
All access pass, guys. So we are currently inside of the workshop shed, and we've got to watch our legs where we walk right now because there are heaps of objects, you know, sitting on the floor and all that. I might just quickly get some video of the train coming in. Yeah.
Just keep to the side.
Absolutely.
Right?
We don't want to be
get behind.
squashed. Yeah.
That's the engine. It'll go back up, it lives in the roundhouse.
Sure.
Go upstairs, blow down the boiler, and and come up here for this.
Sure. It's so cool, isn't it? What do you reckon?
Very cool.
You want to go forward a little bit?
All access pass, everybody. All access pass. I wasn't lying.
Alright, you got the handbrake on the car?
So they're about to break apart this train to put it away for the day. How incredible. This is an all access pass. Alright, yeah. So this is an original Tramway Avenue sign from Parramatta?
Steam tram, my word. When steam trams first ran, dating from 1879, they used double-decker tram cars for about 10 years, okay?
Sure.
This is a replica steam tram double-decker built in 1951.
Yep.
Which, if I may say, was a very, very good year. A very good vintage 1951.
Fair enough.
It was given to us by the Vally Heights Museum in the late 1990s.
Sure.
We've been working on it for years. Cosmetically, we've virtually finished it. The big job is now to rebuild the bogies.
Sure.
It's going to carry passengers, we're going to use it, it's going to be a massive attraction. So come upstairs.
Yeah, let's go upstairs. So they've been renovating this old tram, and it's a double-storey tram. We get to go upstairs right now before they release it for the public use in a year or so from now. So let's go up.
He was a railway sign writer. And look at this. Dr. Morse's Indian route quilt. This is taken from a 1906 advertisement. This is all done freehand.
Wow.
And it's just...
Believe it or not, it's very steep, and the tram's actually moving backwards and forwards, side to side. Very cool.
When we first got this, it just had a wooden frame roof with canvas. So that's not going to work with the steam tram, so we've replaced the roof, you know, rebuilt everything, put the rail...
I think I may need to duck my head for this. There we go.
Aluminium panels made with these photos on of double-deckers.
Look,
You know,
how many
it's
people
they're
are on them.
original double deckers back in the day with the steam tram, and these are single deckers somewhere in the city. And that just gives a brief history of steam trams.
Yep.
Steam trams, when they first ran in Sydney, were only meant to run for 6 months.
Really?
Back in the day, and I'll show you at the other picture, where they ran, the railway terminus was up closer to Redfern. In 1879, we had... Come on!
It's all action-packed
Boys
right
with
now.
their toys.
My goodness.
That's blowing down the boiler.
You can see through the window.
Just blowing all the muck out of the bottom of the boiler.
Sure,
It would have been good to see outside.
Yeah. Hang on, we're going to stand up as tall as I can. You ready? There we go. That's my shoulder is now touching the roof.
Made for midgets. Big
Amazing, amazing tram car. Wow. Yeah.
little light bulb moment. We'll build a tramway. So they got these made-to-measure trams off Baldwin
Yep.
in America, off-the-shelf trams. Only meant to last for 6 months for the duration of this exhibition,
Sure.
but they became so popular and they just spread, and people demanded steam trams going to their suburbs. Sydney had supposedly the largest network of steam trams on the planet.
Yeah.
The main centre was down near the quay where the Intercontinental Hotel is now. That was the depot for the steam trams.
Wow, really?
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And if you go down there, there's a plaque on the side of it.
It's a huge shame, as we know, that's a huge shame that Sydney decided to get rid of all the tram. We would have one of the best, if not the best tram network now in the world.
And look how good Melbourne is. And
Melbourne's amazing. Melbourne has the knowledge just to want to keep it.
But there's all the lobby of, you know, petrol and buses, bus companies now, get rid of trams, get rid of trams.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, exactly. Wow. How cool is this? Yeah, baby? Okay.
It was very recognisable to you.
This is the tunnel, so you got the ash.
That is very interesting. Yep.
Can you imagine?
So this is apparently a really historic tunnel that they used to put the ash down below. So the steam train would be up above, dumping the ash down below. And these railway tracks here, we're going to go in a second and show you, but these railway tracks used to have a little mine cart that went inside to pull the ash out. How incredible is this?
Steam engine sitting
Steam
up
engine still sitting up there. Yeah.
Just taking out all the ash from the ash pan that's been
Sure.
in the days when this was a locomotive depot, all it was built for was for steam locos to help trains up to Katoomba, right?
Yep.
So from here to Katoomba, if I'm guessing we'll probably shovel a couple of tonne of coal, because you've got to work your bum off to get up there, to get up the steep grade.
Absolutely.
So there's tons of ash at the end. So they'd come back in here, rake out all the ash like Dave's doing, take water, take coal, oil, do it all over again. So you've got two ash pits here. The engines, and again, have you been into the model room? Okay, so this basically is the depot during the 1950s. So you've got Vally Heights Station up there in the main lines.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ash pits here.
Interesting.
Right, and that's, like I say, that's the
There's the
tunnel.
little coal wagon that we just talked about,
Yeah, and there's that little skip that would come and, this whole place is built on ash.
Sure.
But these wagons would then be filled up with ash, so there's only ever one track going down there where everything is. That's the coal stage.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is the steam engine would bring a couple of coal wagons up where we did our ride,
Sure.
up the back there, go even further, and then reverse and gain more height. Just over here, there are all these trestles, like you can see here. And then it would just fill up this coal stage. So an engine would come in from Katoomba, pull in there, rake out the ash, fill up with coal.
Sure.
There's a water tower, which is you can see part of it out there.
Yep.
And this is where we are here. Well, we're actually in here. This is our shop. We are in here. Just there. There's your turntable, roundhouse.
Amazing.
There's a couple of buildings that aren't there anymore, but that's basically it.
So the ash was not like filled up those, but it was also just dumped.
I think so, yeah. I believe the whole place is built up on ash. There's that layout of this place in the 1950s. Just behind Craig up here was a big coal stage.
Yep.
So the engines would come in under there, fill up the tender with coal, fill up with water, do it again 24 hours a day.
Yep.
Okay. So you had tons and tons of ash raked out into these two pits here and there. There and there's like a trapdoor sort of thing, so the ash would be raked into there. This tunnel had a little skip, like a little wagon.
Okay.
You'd go underneath there and you'd rake all the ash into this little wagon. It would then go out here onto a bit of a trestle.
Yep.
And wagons like the S-truck, which was behind the loco here, would be filled up with ash and it would be taken off to be used as ballast or whatever.
Sure.
So this tunnel is quite historic and I would imagine, if not unique, very, very uncommon. Put the engine away now, fill up the water.
Yeah.
And so many Vietnam veterans, they're just...
Alright guys, let's have a quick look inside this tunnel. You guys may have seen me in my Vietnam War tunnels. Well, we're in this tunnel right now. Here we go. Wow. This is really cool. Oh god, the ground is so squashy. The ground is so squashy. And look at that. That's what it looks like above. So the railway track is here and the railway track is there. And yeah, the coal, you know, the dirty ash from the wood that was burned inside the steam train, or of course the coal ash. The ash was dropped down here, and look at the railway tracks. There was railway tracks here and here. And look at that, look how rusted they are. I'll put that back, we don't want to damage anything. But yeah, but there used to be a little rail car, a little coal mine cart that used to come down here and come to the very end, and I think this is absolutely fascinating. I just want to quickly say thank you to the Vally Heights Railway Museum for giving us this opportunity and showing us around, really enjoying our trip so far. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's very narrow, this tunnel. Not as narrow as the Vietnam War tunnels that I went into, but still very interesting. That is very cool. Would you believe that Steve logo is from the Jackass? No, it's not. But the name is actually called Steve-O. It's a very interesting name. Jackass people, you guys, Jackass fans, you guys would know what I'm talking about. Alright guys, we are now heading into the steam train. Let's do this! Give the wave, babe. And we are heading off. Let's do this trip. Thanks to a couple of lovely chaps, we ended up getting another steam train ride for free. So this is our second ride so far. Obviously we're filming for YouTube, which is why they're allowing us to do that, but we're also getting a really great shot now with my GoPro facing the front of the carriage, front. Steve-O the steam train. Here we go. Who's away, babe? We're pretty much on the main line now, guys.
Track for haulage. Yeah. So I do a bit of work for LBR and whatever every now and then.
Hey, baby. Awesome is this? I love this. I'm like a kid in a candy shop, a fat kid in a candy shop, or a steam train loving kid in a rail museum. It's a good analogy.
here overnight, are they? Yeah. Yep. Okay, go.
Little more. Alright, so this is the point where we end up reversing and going back to the museum. It's a short little ride, but it's pretty cool. I must admit, it is pretty cool, even for the short distance that it is.
Just down there.
Ah, it
Must have been there for
everywhere.
a while. Been there for a while.
Babe, remember that time we went on the steam train ride from Thelmere back to Picton, I think it was, and then from Picton back to Thelmere?
Yeah.
I had my hand sticking out the window and I almost got my hand chopped off by a passing object.
Yes, very dangerous.
I've got video footage of this. I'm going to try and find it and add it for you guys. Here we go. Bridge. A smaller one.
Whoa.
Nothing.
The camera hit something.
Someone hit something.
Oh, wow.
Pretty crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So this part is the actual up section. We're going up. And we've pretty much just stopped now, but we're going to go back down in a second. So there's the museum there, guys. That's where we are. How amazing is this? We're actually on the back of the train. Yeah, I probably shouldn't operate that. I probably shouldn't, but hey, I can dream.
Stand clear, train approaching, stand clear.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I thought this whole train trip was a pretty good experience. Like I said, if you want to come here, this is the Vally Heights Railway Museum. Check out their website to basically determine when is the next time they do a trip. Thanks for watching. I love you all. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, and ring the bell. We have two channels. We have two channels on YouTube. This is channel 1 that you're watching this on right now. Of course, we have channel 2. You'll be linking that in the description below. We do daily videos on that channel. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.